If you're starting to think about your financial future, you first need to understand these 5 things you can do with your money. I've spent over 20 years in the financial services industry, first as a financial advisor, and then as the personal finance manager for a billionaire family. In that time, I've learned that there are 5 things you can do with your money. Now, rarely are you going to be good at all 5 of these. You might be good at 1 or 2, and you might be really bad at 1 or 2. But the point is, nobody's an expert in all 5. So let's talk about the 5 money activities and how they affect your ability to build wealth. The first money activity is earning. You might have an earning problem. Actually, if you're like most people, you do have an earning problem. The money you earn is not matching up with the lifestyle you want to be living. You might think it's too difficult to increase your income, but it might be easier than you think. For instance, you could learn new skills in your job. You could learn to deal with people and get management experience. You could also choose to become an expert in one area of your job, and then you become the go-to person when people need help in that area. And that could prove your value, or maybe you're willing to relocate to another area where your skills are in higher demand. The point is, will it take sacrifice? Sure. You're going to have to sacrifice something. I mean, look at all the time it took you to learn the skills and get the education you have to be in the job you have today. Maybe you spent years at trade school, college, had internships or apprenticeships. And if you're a lawyer or a doctor or some other high-paying profession, you went to a lot of other years of school to get additional training. You traded your time for the opportunity to earn a higher income. And you can continue to do that today. You know, the average commute to work in the United States is about 27 minutes. Imagine if you use that time to learn a new skill, or maybe you take every Wednesday night or Thursday morning for a couple of hours and learn a new skill or learn new information that will help you in your job. It won't be easy, but it is doable. I'm always impressed when I hear about the huge pay differences in a certain profession because someone chose to specialize, or they moved to a different area where their skills were in higher demand so they could command more income. But it's not all about specializing. It's not all about where you live. The point is, there are people out there in your field making more money than you, but you should at least know what they're doing to earn that extra income. You can decide whether or not that's something you want to do, and that's perfectly fine. But know the options are out there and be aware, and then decide where you want to set your ability to earn at. It's something worth doing from time to time, seeing how you can optimize your earning power. Now, once you earn the money, you have to figure out what to do with it. And that leads us into number 2, saving. My recommendation is to save 20% for retirement. If you can do that, you should have no trouble becoming financially independent when you retire. If you have other stuff you want to save for, a house, a fancy car, expensive vacations, that's in addition to the 20%. 20% is for retirement. And this is where you might struggle. You are earning, but you struggle to save. And your money is going to so many other places, like payments for interest, your mortgage, your rent, your car payment, credit cards, and chances are you've got student loans that you're still paying on for the next 10 plus years. You might be struggling to save money now. You might be spending it all, whether your money's going to payments or an overpriced lifestyle. And the only way this will change is you've got to get good at saving. It will be impossible to build enough wealth to become financially independent when you retire if you don't save. And it's impossible to become a good investor if you don't have anything saved. Look, if you can't save 20%, that's fine. Save 15%. 15% should still be okay in the end, but find a number today that you can work with and then increase it over time. Just realize, though, you may need to work longer before you retire, or you might need to downsize your lifestyle or move to a more affordable area. If you're in a high-income profession, you might think you're in the clear, but you are at the risk of being a bad saver too. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it is human nature to be susceptible to lifestyle creep. More money leads to more spending, whether it's a bigger house, a fancier car, a vacation home. If you're early in your career, try to resist lifestyle creep for a few years, save the money, develop good habits. You may find that a few years from now, you're not going to feel the tug toward that bigger house, the fancier car, or the vacation home. So get that retirement saving up to 20% or at least 15%. Start early in your career and invest wisely, and that 20% will get you there. The third money activity is investing. And truthfully, once you work this one out, it's going to be the easiest of the 5. It's not that complicated, especially if you are using low-cost, broadly diversified index funds. You start by setting up an investment plan and you follow it. Doing that removes a lot of the guesswork from investing. Where does my money go this month? Well, what's the plan say? You don't have to ask yourself, does it go into AI, Bitcoin, Apple? Should you trade options? Should you short the market? No. Follow the plan. It's that easy. When you start investing, you're going to feel pulled in so many directions. You'll have friends telling you, time the market, speculate in individual stock. One of them is going to get lucky and they're going to hit it big. You're going to experience FOMO, but overall, those are just outliers. Stay away from them and you'll realize that over the long run, investing is surprisingly simple. Follow the plan. Next, the fourth thing you can do with your money is spend it. This is probably the easiest one to do, but it's also the easiest one to screw up. Now, maybe you're a super saver, meaning you could be saving 50+% of your money, but maybe you have trouble spending that money. You're so worried about saving it all and having enough that you lose sight of the things you could buy that would bring you joy and happiness today. If you are a super saver, take a moment and figure out what some of those are. They don't have to be things either. They can be experiences, maybe with friends and family. Maybe it's traveling. Go spend some money and do some of them. You'll be fine. Now, if you're like most people, you're probably not a super saver. You don't have any trouble wasting money on stuff you don't end up using. I'm talking about retail therapy, impulse purchases. Do you really need that stuff, or are you just feeling it in the moment? Do you waste money on services you don't fully enjoy or won't help you? Things like streaming services and subscriptions. Now, before you get all up in arms, sure, having a few of them might fit your budget, but do you really need that streaming service just so you can watch 8 episodes of one show once a year? Ask yourself these questions. Are you getting real value from this purchase? Will this bring you joy and happiness? Think about it another way, in dollar terms. Would you rather buy that fancy new car and have a $500 monthly payment? Or would you rather save that money and have $6,000 to take 2 really great vacations each year? Think about it. Spending is about choices. And speaking of choices, the 5th and final money activity is giving. After covering the other 4 money activities, you may not even have anything left to give. I'm not going to dictate to you if you should give or how much you should give. That's your personal decision, just like all the others I've covered so far. These are all personal decisions. But if you are going to give, whether it's giving today to charities or to your kids or to family members, it takes some work to figure out how to do it. You want to be sure the money you give to charities is going to be used effectively and efficiently. And you want the money to give to your kids to make a difference in their lives today, but not spoil them so much so that they don't become productive members of society in the future. And if you want to be able to give away a significant amount of money sometime far into the future, you got to hold back today and do some planning in order to make that happen. Now, after hearing all that, you may want to improve your saving and investing routine, but you don't know where to start. There is a way you can simply start building a multi-million-dollar retirement fund. And I talk about it in this video.